Welcome back to Wild Child Records. So we're just discussing here Bruce Coughlin, his wonderful legacy to a Rise Up TV, Big Records, Mark. We had the bus driver on a couple weeks ago. He had some interesting stories. He's out in LA, so it's great. So what I want to do a little bit now, just flip the switch a little bit and let's talk a little bit about your career, Bruce, and tell me some of your inspirations. Tell me some of your secrets, but not too much about your songwriting skills. And then I have a couple follow-ups for you. So tell us about your career and what inspired you, or who are some of your inspirations.
Well, I was always inspired by music. Always always loved it. When I hit grade 8, music teacher at the time told me I had no aptitude. He kicked me out of band and he kicked me out of choir. So I quit school. 3 months into grade 8, my father told me at that time, this is the mid 70s. He said, "Well, he said house rules are this. You either go to school, you get a job, or there's the door. It works both ways. You're always welcome.
Yep.
It's no hard feelings, but you know." So I took door number 2. I picked up my guitar and a haversack, and I walked out the door, and I started playing on the street corners of Vancouver in the 1970s.
Wow.
And
Busking in the 70s.
it was a wonderful time. Vancouver was a kind town.
Yeah.
This is just at the tail of peace, love, and all this. And I came into that sort of folk culture, folk music culture, hanging around in coffee houses and things like that, and learned a lot of my early craft watching some great folk musicians, 4 and 5 nights a week, getting into drum circles and song circles. And
And you
for
were
for a
what, like
kid,
14 or something?
I was
13, 14?
14.
14, eh?
And this was
Wow.
just a bohemian lifestyle, and I'd end up,
Yeah.
I'd be sleeping on a couch one night, and on the beach the next. It was a,
Wow. You could
it
do
was a,
that back in the 70s.
you could do that, and people were kind.
Well, just to add to that, my brother in the 70s left home at 16. Same type of scenario with my father, just was a little bit of a rascal. And he decided to leave. But he went to school still. He got a part-time job. He lived on his own. Like he could do it. You could do it then,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that first winter, I got a job as a nanny,
See, there you go. So
and
tell me a
and,
few of
and thanks
your
to the joys of the social media, I stay in touch with these two girls
nice. So tell
who
me a
are now in their 50s.
few inspirations now, few guitar inspirations. Who do you love?
I like a lot, and mostly acoustic guitar.
Okay.
So being of a folk background and being Canadian, of course, my big influence is Gordon Lightfoot, Stan Rogers, a lot of those, Joni Mitchell,
Yeah.
Neil Young,
Neil
those
Young.
those sort of classic, identi- identifiably Canadian artists.
That's
And
great.
I've always challenged myself to to rise to that level of songwriting. They're
And
very, very amazing songwriters, all of them.
how about your songwriting inspirations? Just daily, everyday life?
Uh, yeah, yeah, pretty much. If there was one thing that's unique that I do is I write songs about Western Canadian history.
Nice.
See, coming from a Celtic background, being of Irish descent, I always felt that balladry was, the old bardic tradition. Preserve your history in song. So a
That's
lot of a lot of things I know about Scottish and Irish history, I've learned through songs. And if it's just a finger pointing to a larger story, that's what it is. So I began writing songs about 25 years ago about British Columbia history and some of the early settlers, the heroes and the villains, and some of the things that came up.
That's great. I love talking to musicians because they're so insightful. They're so connected to their music. Like it's so zen. It's so zen. I love talking. That's why I love seeing where do musicians get their inspiration from. I love talking about their struggles, overcoming their struggles, helping fellow musicians, helping the new ones that are coming into the business. It's such a community. It's such a great community. So I really appreciate you coming on the show today, Bruce, and sharing your story regarding the Legacy Tour and big records and being out in BC. We're going to be seeing you sometime within the next year because the Disability Channel is part of the Invictus Games production and
Oh,
media.
lovely.
So we'll be coming out there, staying there for a couple weeks. So I might be sleeping on your couch. Who knows?
Maybe. Never know.
That's great, Bruce. I really appreciate being on the show today. What we're going to do now, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to come back and wrap the show with a couple updates. Stay tuned. You're watching Wild Child Records. I'm Jay Stoyan. We'll see you in a bit.